X2K 3-0 the Unicorns.
We lost the chance we had, so we only have one shot left, and it is winning Gauntlet.
We can win against anyone pretty much, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
The main goal for us is making it Worlds.
This is a step on the way, you know, like they're not great. We're better than them.
I think it's going to be a close series, an exciting one as well.
So you never know what Unicorns is gonna show up into those games.
We can just prove, like, the people that we actually deserve to go to Worlds. We can prove it to ourselves as well.
I just know that the best team is gonna make it through.
Just play my best and try to reach Worlds with everything I have.
We deserve to be on the top 3 of Europe to go to Worlds.
Welcome to our continuing coverage of the 2015 European Regional Qualifier, where just one series separates our two contenders from the final European seed at Worlds 2015. It is go time for our teams. Origen coming back to the building after winning their first best of 5 yesterday, but it's round 2 for them. One team stands between them and Worlds, and that is this team right here, the Unicorns of Love, where Power of Evil is working on his Oriana mechanics. So it seems by the pool before getting into the game today. I'm EpicSkillshot, joined by James Stress O'Leary and Gambit Gaming's coach Shans, as we cover the series that will send one of the teams on stage to the World Championships. Shans, thank you so much for joining us. I know you are practicing hard with Gambit for the promotion tournament up next week. How's that going?
Yeah, so hi everyone. Yeah, we are practicing really hard with Gambit to maintain our spot in LCS actually. I wish we were in this playoff spot or Gauntlet, but in the end, like, we just have to fight against Mousesports, but it's going super well, so I'm pretty confident. Yeah,
that's next week. We'll, of course, all be there to watch that as well. For now, we're going to focus in here on the match at hand, and it's been a long road for the teams here today. Of course, yesterday, Origen pushed to the full 5 games when they faced Roccat in the end, but it was a severe test for them.
Oh, it was a lot closer than I think everybody, including Origen, was expecting them to face yesterday against Roccat. Roccat stepped up a lot. Origen maybe a little bit shaky from what we have seen, but just in general, Origen managing to edge it out. A little slow off the blocks, but finished that series 3 games to 2.
Yeah, I think that Origen a little bit underperformed during those games, and I think that Roccat had the upper end during the whole series, but mainly the first game of this BO5 for me mattered a lot because Roccat had the game, and in the end, Origen just, I would say they stole the game a little bit, and just won with their greedy comp.
A greedy comp, you say? We also heard in the video here beforehand, a very much a change for them. Beforehand, it was like, okay, we'll get to playoffs, we'll see what happens. Now, after that game versus Fnatic, at least, it seems like they're a lot more confident. Amazing is saying, well, we are better than them. Expect is saying we deserve that seed. How will that influence them going into this game, Shans?
Well, I think first that saying that they deserve to be in the 3rd spot, they have to show it. They have to prove themselves that they are worth going into Worlds. And maybe Amazing was a little bit tired after this game, so he had to say that we are worth going to Worlds. But I think Unicorn has a shot, and never kill a unicorn before it's dead.
That's a good point. Well, yesterday, Roccat unfortunately didn't make it, but they did put up quite the fight. And at Fnatic Affairs thinks their top laner really showed up, right? Unbelievable, more like unbesteevable. Here is your LCS big play of the day.
We'll continue as a 1v1. The crunch doesn't connect, but the mega gnaw does. And there goes Steve shortly after. One more house goes out, and if he's low, actually killed by Steve. Steve!
You know him pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. He learned everything in Sparta when he was with us as a team. So this is basic Steve, that he played really well in this moment.
They definitely stepped up yesterday. In the end, it wasn't enough for Roccat. OG won, and with their win over Roccat yesterday, Origen advanced to today's finals, pitting them against the Unicorns of Love in a do-or-die series. Neither team qualified for Worlds on points or winning the split, obviously, so this is their last chance to qualify.
Yeah, it's a really interesting match. It's our Spring Split 2nd place team against our Summer Split 2nd place team. And, you know, that's why Unicorns have the higher seed. They have the points from Spring Split, which gave them the choice on side for 1, 3, and 5 in today's matches.
That is today's match here over in Europe. And after we wrap everything up here, Team Liquid is going to take on Cloud9 over in North America in their regional qualifier final round to see who goes to Worlds. And they did it again. Cloud9 yesterday, the reverse sweep. I mean, is that a game plan? How does that keep happening?
Yeah, I saw it through all the 5 games. It was pretty crazy. Like, to be honest, now that Cloud9 did 2 reverse sweep in a row, I feel like they really have a really strong identity, you know, like I just pulling up Shyvana, Kha'Zix jungle, Amumu. Okay, he lost, but just strong identity. And I feel like maybe they can do this against Team Liquid, even if I think Team Liquid is the biggest beast that they have to be afraid of.
Be afraid of, yeah.
Yeah, I think if I'm Team Liquid, I'm just like, maybe we let them win game 1. They won't know what to do. They can't reverse sweep while ahead. You can't do that. No. Well, they've had some weird picks and bans, but seems to be working for Cloud9. Team Liquid, a very tough opponent, though, I think, for today.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Enough talk about NA, though, for now. We have a score to settle here in Europe for the final ticket to Worlds between the UOL and Origen. Start by taking a look at the Unicorns of Love, Vizicachi, Horo, Power of Evil, Vardags, Hylissang, and their coach, Sheepy. If we take a look at their playoff run, of course, they beat Roccat in the end. It went to the full 5 games, but then their 3rd place match, their game versus Fnatic, it was not good. Honestly, it was some of the worst play I've seen coming out of the Unicorns of Love.
I completely agree with you. It's a very strong statement, but honestly, you look at the last couple of series, when it comes to the Unicorns, their early game has been so shaky. 1,800 gold deficit on average against H2K at 20 minutes. And, you know, it's gone from bad to worse with them. Not only have they had these weak early game starts, their picks and bans phase before the game has even begun. In the last 2 series, they're 0-3, and so much of it has come from just obscure picks and bans phase, different mid lane picks. And Power of Evil right now has just such a different champion pool to what the meta is. It makes it so difficult for his team to actually play.
Yeah, definitely. We just see now the Syndra, Kayle, maybe Kog'Maw is fine, but Ezreal, this is like maybe outdated champion, you know? He can make them work. Maybe in 2 months, it's going to be the next best champion. But
he's hearing us right now.
In the end, I think that maybe... Okay, hello. He can maybe like improve his champion pool, or maybe he just shows that he has struggled into playing those meta champion like Azir, like Victor maybe. And I would like to see him on Varus or Jace. They are really good champion. Not Jace, but Varus is really good on him, and he's really performing really well in this champion.
Yeah, he's played well on it before. Indeed, they're going into the huddle there before the game. Sean's as a coach, when this happens, when you know that you have a mid laner who is mechanically very proficient and who would do good on those other champions, would you then step in and say, hey, come on, let's practice this, let's try this, let's change it?
Wait, Sheepy is hearing me? Yeah. Sheepy is doing really, really well. Sheepy is the best, I think. No, joke apart, I think that Power of Evil is really strong in the mid lane. He's the key for the Unicorn of Love. And if he's confident into playing Kayle, okay, you can go on Kayle, but make it work. If he's not working, then go back into other champions. This is basic, you know. It's like when we tried with Cabochard, GP top. Back in the days, it was working really well in scrims, but not in LCS. So I said,
it might work
okay.
now, though.
This is now different. But now I say, okay, GP, we won't play anymore because it's not working. So let's see how it goes. But I think Unicorn has a shot. And Power of Evil maybe train even something more cheesy, or maybe just train the Victor, the Azir, to show up really big today.
Certainly has been a big factor for the Unicorns in both wins and losses. Recently, though, another big factor for the Unicorns has been Horo out of the jungle. Coming in, he seemed to be a little bit of a remedy for some of the problems the Unicorns have, but that kind of dipped off very quickly. And Horo in the last couple of series has not had the best of games. We just saw some stats on the screen for Horo when it comes to his early game performances, again, against H2K. 1-6-4 at 15 minutes, and overall, 0.5 KDA in that series. He's been struggling to find his footing and find control in the jungle, but it's not always just about Horo. There's a lot more to it when it comes to how to play out the map as a jungler.
Yeah, I think Horo, when he arrived in Unicorn, was really hyped because, if I remember correctly, Unicorn decided to go for Gilius, and then they added Oro and Airwax as a substitute, and everyone knew, I mean, at least pretty much everyone knew that Oro or Airwax would replace Gilius, and Oro had the, like, everything to perform. He had the hype, he had the level and everything, and he need to show up even better than what he did, because to lose 6 games in a row like this, not performing, okay, maybe jungle is a role that is dictated by the way laning are going, but also you need to perform as the pure jungler, you know, like having first blood ganks like Jenkos, having good map control, having good pressure like Rainover, you know, something that defend him.
Yeah, Horo definitely will have to step up here because they're up against Origen with Amazing, who's also very aggressive. So let's take a look at that lineup. Soaz, Amazing, Expeke, Niels, Mithy, and the coach Leduc. You talked a lot about the jungle. What's also very important in this matchup, jungle and support synergy. Yesterday in the game versus Roccat, the Fisho mentioned that he thinks that Amazing and Mithy's jungle support synergy might be the best in the West. How will that come into play here?
All right, so in my opinion, jungle support synergy is the strongest thing at the moment in the meta, which means that if you have the best synergy, if you have the two best players that are synchronized, then you will most likely win the early game and the mid game. And then after you can set up ganks with the top laner, because when you get the control with wards of one side, then you can dictate the game basically, because if the jungler is not on this side, it means it's on the other side, so you can set up plays, say to the top laner you can save TP and everything. And I agree with the Fisho. I think Mithy and Amazing are showing up immensely, and mostly Mithy. I want to say Braum.
Wow. Easy to make the mistake.
Mostly Braum, but Mithy I would say.
They did go hand in hand yesterday as Mithy and Braum. Very convincing performance on the champion. And, you know, he's up against a support that also plays Braum. We've seen Hylissang, he brought Braum back to Europe when it came to the poke meta as a bit of a counter, and since then it's moved on, and Braum has just overall become a much better support. These two supports are also fairly similar in the way that they can influence the map by roaming, but Mithy is so much more consistent with it than Hylissang is. Hylissang, we see some games he'll roam top, get a flash tibbers with Annie, and great, sets up the game for his team. Doesn't always happen though. And if they can't get Hylissang into this game, Mithy is going to punish them all across the map.
I think that it's really true, because Mithy has a lot of pressure, but also, like, for example, I'm afraid that Horo, if he faces Gragas of Amazing and Braum of Mithy, he will be like really in trouble in this jungle, and this will be the dictating of the series. I hope that the coach and the players in Unicorn are aware that this might happen. So I think Hylissang needs to play like really roaming stuff, and we need to leave a little bit Vardax 1v1, because I would say like Niels is really stronger than Vardax in laning phase, maybe in control of the waves. But if you play a champion that is safe in the bot lane, that allows your support to roam, then it might open them up for Unicorn to create plays. And we know that Origen has some trouble when they don't have the early game going fluent.
And we also know that Hylissang has done that in that quarterfinal versus Roccat, where he appeared on Annie out of nowhere, seemingly getting that double kill for the team. Final say maybe about this series, the fact that Origen has already had this best of 5 yesterday, and they had to put a lot on the line, which they may have not expected. How will that influence picks and bans and just a general setting going into this game?
Well, Unicorns got to see everything that Origen had in theory yesterday, but I think that Origen have already seen everything the Unicorns have had. Their picks and bans has been so predictable all the way through that I don't think in a week Unicorns will have had anything particularly new that is going to be groundbreaking for them here today. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe they've been sat on something all season and they just were like, well, just bring it out and get
the
it.
Super long con, a little bit risky.
And one last thing is that Origen is the team that plays the most over all the team. They played like they were so close to beat Fnatic, to have the number of spots in the world, and they had to like accept the defeat, then come back into 3-2 against Roccat. Now against Unicorn, now they have to face another BO5. So maybe in terms of mental, we saw Amazing having some mental issues. Not correct, but I mean it was like really tired after the game, exhausted. So now I think that he might play a little bit. You know, if Origen is like throwing first game or losing first game, maybe mentally like, they can be weak.
That'll be super interesting. Well, you heard a lot what we had to say about this matchup, but throughout the day, we also want to hear from you. So hop on Twitter and tell us which of today's teams is best prepared for the international stage and why is that. As always, send your responses at LOL Esports with the hashtag LCS so we can talk over your answers here on the desk later today. It's day 3, guys. For now, though, it's time to hop on stage for a word with the coach for the UOL, Sheepy.
Thank you very much, Sharks. I'm joined by Sheepy before he heads to the Rift up against Origen. And now, first off, Sheepy, you're in the Gauntlet right now. You're going to be the final boss for Origen. Is it easier being at the start or the end of the Gauntlet for you guys?
For us, it doesn't really matter. I think we just like to play more competitive games. So I think at the beginning of the Gauntlet, it's very exciting for us as well, since that's why we joined here LCS. But just play-wise, it doesn't really matter for us. We can be prepared if it's one game. We come prepared if it's more games, and since we only have one day to actually know who we play, there's no difference.
Okay, no difference, but what will make a difference is the in-game. I kind of want to talk a little about in-game shot calling, because I know you guys do it a little bit different from other teams.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say that we have a democratic shot calling, but that takes too much time for us, so I would call it like temporary dictatorship, something around this, where somebody takes the lead in the moment and the one who's feeling the most secure about a call just goes with it. And yeah, so far it seems to work out pretty well. Of course, we have communication issues here and there, but I think a lot of teams have that. So yeah, communication, big point, and the way we do it, I think, is effective.
Okay, effective, but also taking a look on picks and bans, again, you do it a little bit different from different teams. Do your players have the final say in Champion Select, or is it, I want to pick this champion, and then you tell them yes or no?
I would say that they have the final say, but it is in a really clear roster where if you pick something that is absolutely not fitting the comp, we will heavily disagree and just give our opinion. So basically, you will have 2 or 3 champions you would like to play. We discuss a little bit, and in the end, it's your call. And it's like, everybody, please, Power, what is your final call? And then he goes with Kale, and we win the game.
And just win the game. Okay, we'll see if that happens today. Good luck in this game up against Origen Sheepy. Before we head to the cast desk, we're going to hear from Amazing and how he feels that unicorns have a signature style.
They don't try to learn the game as it is. They rather try to still find ways around it, which I still don't understand because it's proven like what's good and it's proven what's not good. So therefore, why do you try to work around something that's already provenly good? There's no reason for you.
I share the same confusion that Amazing does. We'll find out whether or not unicorns